Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening or watching. There he is. This latest episode of Turfcast podcast with me, Joe Redmond, and as usual, my good friend, Simon Townley. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. I prefer that intro. That's a better one.
Yeah. Well, it's better than just friend, isn't it?
It's better than good friend.
What would you prefer, co-host?
That's fine.
Yeah. Hairdresser to the stars. How about that one?
No, you'll be coming out with Burnley Express cut above next.
Oh, that is the easiest headline in the world, isn't it? Simon Townley's a cut above.
I hate it.
Easy. Have you been anyway, mate? You all right?
I'm very good. Yeah, it's what a week of football we've had. It's not usual that we have so much sort of to talk about in one week of football.
Cool, because we have two games to talk about this week. Because last week's show we released Tuesday evening / Wednesday morning because we had the game on Wednesday evening. We got there in the end. So we did the podcast before the Leicester game. So now we have to talk about the Leicester game in this one. And then, of course, we'll have to do the Arsenal game after it and then do a quick preview of the Everton game. As you know, we don't like doing too big of previews these days for the upcoming game because of the pre-game show, which is what I'm trying to do again on a regular basis. And I really enjoyed the last one that I did. Obviously, if you missed it was with the Don of YouTube, the Don of football YouTube, Robbie Lyle, I think his last name is, from AFTV. And he was really good. I really enjoyed it. So it's made me think. And I did it live because Robbie couldn't do it in any other time. So I did it live on YouTube and I thought it went down quite well. So what the plan is to start doing them live now on the morning of the game. If I'm working, then and whatever, it might change. I'm actually working this week, to be fair, but I don't start while off 11, so I should be able to shoehorn like a 10 a.m. live showing. So fingers crossed we can start doing that. I have been in touch with some Everton channels, trying to find one that is happy to do it. And we know Everton fan Owen, who likes the podcast, so all else fails, we'll get Owen on. But Owen came on last time, so I do like to try and mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm in touch with a couple. But anyway, as usual, got to get all the housekeeping in before we start the podcast. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, we are, of course, sponsored by Pitch Sports. If you haven't already, please go and download it. It is available on the App Store and the Google Play Store, and is now available in Ireland. It might be available in other parts of the world. I don't know. I just know it is available in the UK and it's available in Ireland. If you haven't already, go and download it. As I said, it is like a fan hub. You can put your predicted scores on there, your predicted lineups. You can respond to the games afterwards, put your thoughts across. And every single week we ask a question that is uploaded to the app, and we ask you to answer it. And when you do answer it, we will read the answers out on the podcast every single week if you have responded. But some more housekeeping this week. As you can see, if you are watching on YouTube, I've changed what it says at the bottom of the screen. We were eligible for Facebook stars around 6 months ago. For whatever reason, Facebook took them off. It was an issue with, apparently they thought there was a song in one of my Facebook videos. We did a live stream when we played Watford last year down at Carroll Road. We did a live stream on that. And Facebook's weird algorithm picked up some song on like a bit where me and Simon and I think it was Quilter at the time, we're just chatting about the game. Went back to it, checked it, nothing there. Yeah, well, it could be that. It could be your singing voice, and YouTube just picked up your voice thinking that you're singing. But finally, it just came up the other day saying send Turfcast stars, and I was like, what? I've not got stars. You took them off, mate. And I checked, and they've given me back. So we are eligible for Facebook stars, and that is the reason why I'm going to start doing the pre-game show live. Because I was in the process of moving a lot of stuff over to YouTube, thinking, well, fuck Facebook, I'll move everything over to YouTube. They can help me out. But now what I'll do, I'll broadcast simultaneously on both of them. So the pre-game show will be live on the morning of the game, on the games when I can do it. I'm going to try and do it more than possible now. We will probably bring the VODCAST restream back on Friday nights. Might move it to Thursday nights. Again, that'll all come out. And then the watch-alongs will be there every single week and things like that, as they are at the minute. And a big shout-out to Johnny Tate again and Kieran Phillips, of course. Me and Simon couldn't do it this week. It was my little boy's 3rd birthday party. So that's why I couldn't do it. And then we had to move. So we had to do, ask Johnny and Kieran. And Johnny had a lot of stuff to move around. So massive shout-out to Johnny for that. Johnny, appreciate that. I said I owe him some beers. I've not managed to do it yet. Yeah. Just send me your address, Johnny, and I'll get you some beers. But yeah, big shout out to Johnny and Kieran for doing that. So it just goes to show that when I'm unavailable, and even in the rare occasions that me and Simon are unavailable, because it doesn't happen often, but we still have people that are willing to step in for us now. So fingers crossed the watch-alongs there every single week now until fans are allowed back in. Once fans are allowed back in, obviously we'll be on the game, so I'm not sure what the plan will be with that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, we are now eligible for Facebook stars. So if you are watching this on Facebook or you're watching any other live stream on Facebook, just send us some stars. It helps massively. It's your best way to be able to support your favourite streamers on Facebook. And one more thing, and I know everybody hates this bit where I do all the housekeeping. It's like, oh, just get a move on with it. I want to give a big shout out to Neil Layfield. I won't go into too much detail why, it's not my place to say, but Neil's a big fan of the podcast and he's going through a little bit of a tough time at the minute. So thinking of you, mate, shout out. If you're listening, hope everything's well. And yeah, you know where I am if you need me, mate. Anyway, moving on. As I said, 2 games to look back at this week. Burnley 1, Leicester 1 last Wednesday. Went 1-0 up thanks to a goal through Vidra, but we were pegged back in the first half from a real goal, may I say so, from Iheanacho. So yeah, Burnley 1, Leicester 1. Simon Townley, go.
Do you know what? Just as you said it, then it comes to my mind. Then it's like the tale of the 2 forgotten strikers almost. You know, Iheanacho has been a similar sort of role to Vidra, I presume. For Leicester fans would agree with that, I presume. Sorry, that he's one of them players that you kind of want to see more, but there's other people that are above him in the pecking order, so they're not getting the chances. And both of them came out and took the 1 or 2 chances that they got. They put one away. So yeah, they did really well, both of them. So fair play to Leicester. But what a game! Actually,
yeah,
really
it were a good game. It were a good game, and I felt like we looked back. And similar to the Arsenal game, we were looking at the Arsenal game, but we'll get on to that. We still pressed teams high up the pitch, and I feel like we've been missing that a little bit this season. Like Burnley gets so much criticism for being a defensive side, and when we don't have the ball, as we say a million times, we obviously like to be compact. It will be stupid to be open and expansive when you don't have the ball. Teams do it in different ways. Man City try and win the ball back as quickly as possible within that first 10, 15 seconds, put everything within that power to get that ball back. Burnley put everything within their power to get back into their compact shape. But when we don't have the ball and an opposition side is in hard, what I do like to see us do is press quite high up the pitch. And I feel like we did that in the Leicester game. And that's a perfect example of how we scored the goal. I'm just watching it again now. So it's Chowdhury, isn't it, that picks the ball up. Yeah, so Chowdhury, it's passed the ball from one of his centre-backs, and Chowdhury picks the ball up. Straight away, it's Jack Cork, I believe, that's on him straight away like a rash. So he tries to give the ball back to his centre-back. He panics, puts it straight into the path of Vidra, who does well to get past that centre-back, and then creates himself some loads of space and just fires it past Kasper Schmeichel. Handed on him a little bit of a play, the possession anyway. But he's done well to get past the centre-back, and then the finish is an absolute brilliant finish. So I think that Vidra is probably one of the only ones that might have been able to get past the centre-back in current form anyway. So shout out to Vids for doing that. But yeah, a good goal from Burnley's perspective, although Leicester will look at it and say, well, if we didn't give the ball away, then it wouldn't have happened. Yeah,
you got to give thanks to Chowdhury for that goal, and it's all on him. He's given the ball away, but that being said, left-footed strike from Vids across the face of an amazing keeper that we'll come into in a minute, because I've got a list of fucking compliments for him on this game. But he levered it, and he hit it with like a man who scored 20 goals this season. He didn't hit it like a man who's not scored in however many games at home. Yeah, well, I've just like I said, just when it gets past the defence with ease, is always not there. And then the finish itself, like I said, it is Chowdhury's fault that we've got possession in the first place. I'm not going to dress it up and try and say, it's any reason. I do think us pressing Chowdhury has helped that, but a player of Premier League quality should be able to pass the ball back to his centre-back there. But the finish itself, like you say, it's a brilliant finish. Left-footed, top bins, and past a really good goalkeeper in Schmeichel. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, mate. Chowdhury had a stinker. Not only did he give that ball away, he was pretty poor in possession through the rest of the game, and then he missed a golden opportunity. I won't say a sitter because it was a cross in, but he had an open volley, no one around him, and he just scuffed it and gave chance for Pope to save it. So yeah, he
smacked it into the ground, and
Yeah, it was horrible.
Crossed in, and I'm not sure what happened with that one. I just think he's took his eye off it because was it one of the defenders who were just underneath it? Obviously, Burnley defender. He's probably expected a touch on it.
Challenging even. I think he just tried to control it into the net, but ended up just not getting enough contact, so it hit it into the ground.
Yeah, he should have done better with that, definitely. At least got it on target. I think it might go down as a shot on target. I'm just watching the replay again now. Ball comes in. Yeah, Pope tips it over, but was it even going in? I'm not sure. It might go down as a shot on target. But that brings us on then, unfortunately, to the Leicester goal. I'm not sure who the lad is in the middle who does the pass, but it's. I think it's the same centre-back that passed the ball to Chowdhury earlier on in the game. But he completely cuts out the midfield this time, obviously aware of the mistake that Chowdhury's done and the pleasure that Burnley were getting with the press. But it's... I'm not going to say a long ball because it's like a nicely delicate hit pass, but it's a ball over the top of the entire Burnley squad. I'm looking at the freeze frame now. Every single Burnley player is back in position. He's even got the two strikers, Wood and Vidra, closing him down at the time of the pass at either side of him. But he hits it entirely over our midfield, entirely over our centre-backs, straight into the path of Iheanacho, who, it's an insane volley who just volleys it past Nick Pope. And now I have a bit of an exception with this goal because some people giving Popey some stick on twitter.com and saying, what's he doing there? Stay in your net. But I just think when you see a ball come over like that, you're going to rush out. You're taught, as you'll tell me now, as a young lad, if you're a goalkeeper trying to make it at Fulham Colts or whatever, you're always told to come out and smother that ball if a striker's running down on you. And that's what Nick Pope instantly tries to do. 99 times out of 100 in that scenario, the striker takes a touch. So 99 times out of 100 in that scenario, Nick Pope's on him and smothers it. But because for some reason Iheanacho turned into prime Robin van Persie, he just volleys it into the bottom corner, and there's nothing you can do in that situation as a goalkeeper when you're in the position that you're in.
Yeah, no, unbelievable pass. I think it was Mendy, but again, I'm not too sure who it were. But yeah, what a pass. Just dinked it over. It was just like he had all the time in the world to volley it. It was that good of a pass. Pope has come out now at the angle. If he wasn't anticipating the ball going, I don't think he expected Iheanacho to even bring it down. I think it's going past him because he's actually slightly to the right. So I think, as granted, it was off bad positioning, I'd say, because I think he expected something, whereas no one expected Iheanacho to take that on the first touch volley. Yeah. Nobody. So it's just an unbelievable goal. And sometimes you have to say fair play. Every single goal could be stopped in the Premier League if someone else did something different. But at the end of the day, you've just got to take your hat off every now and again and say, you know what, good finish, get on with it, move on, because it was a good goal. Iheanacho, like I said, again, another striker that's not necessarily a first choice, is in because of injuries. And what a strike it was. Left foot again, I think.
Yeah, left foot. It's the pass that makes that goal. Don't get me wrong, it is a brilliant finish, but that pass it just... I say it puts him on a plate for him. He's still got a lot to do, to be fair. And 99 times out of 100, he does take that touch. So maybe it isn't the pass. Maybe I'm just talking. But the pass is sensational. To land on it brilliantly. But then he's got so much to do there because, like I said, if he takes a touch, he's probably not going to score that goal. So the fact that he's managed to wrap his foot around that and put it in the bottom corner, I've said the same as what you've just said there on Twitter. I said you've just got to take your hat off with that goal and say fair play. You deserve the equaliser from that goal alone. That was a sensational pass and sensational volley.
Unbelievable volley, mate. But again, I fully agree with you. I said it myself in my sort of summary of it. The pass was that good. It gave him all the time in the world to think, I'm just going to hit it. It was the pass that gave him the freedom to hit that because it was on a plate for him, coming down. The hardest bit was making the right decision for the striker because, like you said, probably if he'd have missed that, everybody would have said, should have brought it down. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he made the right decision. What a goal.
Yeah, definitely. And then second half, I felt like we were the better side. I think first half, to be honest, I think we were the better side in the first half as well, if I'm being honest. But I think in the second half, we were easily the better side. I think Leicester tired, but they do have a lot of injuries, so that's what they'll put that down to. And ultimately, I wasn't really happy with the draw in the end because of how well we played and how many chances we had. Now, normally we come off this sort of debate and say, oh, well, X, Y, and Z should have done better with this chance, that chance, and that chance. But I'm not feeling that with this one. I feel like we just found, after Ian Atchell turned into Prime Van Persie, Casper turns into Prime Peter, and just turns into sensational form in the net. And we just found him on a very good day, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. He is one of the best that the Premier League's seen. He's definitely one of the top ones at the minute. He saved, if you remember, as well in the first half. I know we're going into the second half now, but he did save that Tarky header from the Dwight McNeil cross. Dwight sort of looked from near enough the corner spot, corner flag, crossed it in, back post. Tarky's headed it down. I think it was a second phase of a corner. Schmeichel just got down really low because Tarky's done everything right. He's headed it into the ground. He's gone down to the left of him, tipped it wide, and then in the second half, Chris Wood done everything right. He's just got the ball, headed it across. Schmeichel with a save that is top jaw. It's to his left. He's tipped it around the post. It was ridiculous. Any other keeper would not have saved that on. You know what I mean? That was just his day. It was just class that day.
Yeah, just watching obviously the two that you just mentioned now. The Tarky header, there's not much more you could do with that. The Chris Wood header, it's not a criticism of him here. I don't think he could do much more with that. But if he does head it further into the side that Schmeichel's diving, it probably does go in. But he's still got so much on it. It's probably only not really physically possible to get it even further. I'm just watching another one now from distance, a curling shot. He saves that as well, obviously. And there's one coming in now, Charlie Taylor. On the cross, ball falls to that Wester? Oh, and it is the post. Yeah. So we won't look. I was with the performance. Obviously, I thought we played very well because obviously this was the first game after the Tottenham defeat. So we're coming back into the game in probably not low on confidence. I think it's fair to say. And then we played very, very well against a side who at the time was second in the league table. Admittedly, they've had a few injuries. But because of how well we played, I ended up coming away disappointed with the point, to be honest. Massively.
I mean, people would argue, I think Leicester fans might see it a different way. They might say it deserved a draw. Tielemans hit the post not long after we hit the post. Pope, he does what he does. He's done a good couple of saves. But like I said, that Wood header from Lawton's cross, the McNeil cross on Tarky's header, I just think that them two main chances would, for me, is why we edged that game and we deserve the win.
Yeah, I think so. I also feel it's slightly a missed opportunity because we played a Leicester side. I know they've since gone to Brighton and beaten Brighton. So you can look at that and say it's a point gain because they've then beaten Brighton at Brighton. I feel it's a missed opportunity to play so well, to play a side with so many injuries. And not win. And I feel like that's the reason why we are where we are this season, because there's been so many missed opportunities. We're missing opportunity against West Brom, we're missing opportunity against Fulham, we're missing opportunity at Brighton, all of them at home. Burnley of last season win 3 out of them 4 games, and now they're above Leeds and knocking on door at top 10 and won't be anywhere near the relegation talk. But now, obviously, we are. So I'm happy with the point, and I think we played well, but I also see it as a missed opportunity.
Yeah, mate. You got Fulham to add to that list. We've got some results that you think they were there for the taking. Fulham, West Brom, with 10 men. Fulham weren't necessarily in the form that you would say that they are in at the minute, but they were just starting to turn that corner. So it was still a time to pounce. I do think we deserve to be higher than we are when you look at sort of the fact that we could have won certain games, but then also we put ourselves in this position by not killing off games like West Brom and Fulham, and they're just recent games.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you look at the start that we had, didn't win for the first 7 or 8 games or whatever it is, we've only got ourselves to blame. And it is worrying me slightly that we're not pulling away from it, and we're still in this position now. But we'll get onto that after the Arsenal game. But obviously, before we get onto the Arsenal game, this is the fan reaction. So this is what the Burnley fans thought of the 1-1 draw at home against Leicester City.
Heath and Martin, New Zealand Clarets, checking in. Burnley 1, Leicester City 1. Martin, your thoughts?
Remember the pig?
I remember the peg that was on your nose after the West Brom game.
Yeah, no need for that this week.
Ooh, no, absolutely not. What a great... Oh, well, it was a fantastic game of football.
A great game, a good game for the neutrals.
Really entertaining.
Very pleasing performance, lots of energy. I was very pleased with the way the two front players played. I thought I've always said they could be a good combination. I think if they continue to play those two up front, I think they'll get better, because there were times today when they didn't. They could have done better combining. So I look forward to that combination continuing.
I think that without question, Wood and Vidra is our best combination up front.
Chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it worked really well. Wood obviously made a big difference coming back. He was a handful, but Vidra's got pace, and we really need pace up front to complement the big man, to complement Wood. So I think it's our best combination, and they seem to work really well together. Not only were they a handful, but they were also pressing.
Pressing was effective. Led to the goal, as you know, and then also some other opportunities. The one thing I would say is that sometimes we're pressing effectively, but if they do break it, we can sometimes look a little susceptible at the back.
Yeah, especially if Lowton and Taylor have pushed up. Yeah, but it was a really entertaining game. Some of the games recently have been a bit, really quite an awful watch, but that was a genuinely entertaining game.
It's good.
Your man of the match?
Oh, I'd say maybe Charlie Taylor.
Charlie Taylor had a really good game. Chris, it's actually quite difficult to pick a man of the match. Yeah. Chris Wood was excellent again. Vidra, a really well taken goal, and I'm really pleased for him. He needed that goal, and I hope he does get a decent run in the team now. But the whole team played really well. Pope pulled off some good saves. There's question marks over his position for their goal, but it was a really, really good, clever pass over.
Well, it took that kind of a goal to beat us, to tie us today. So
it was a clever pass over, and it was a brilliant finish. To be fair to Leicester, it was a really good goal. But Arsenal next. Yep. Onwards and upwards. So
let's get 6 points off those guys.
Oh, 6 points in one season. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Goodbye from New Zealand. Up the Clarets.
Hi guys, talking about the Leicester game, it was much more like it, way more on the attacking front foot, bombing forward, playing the football that you want to see. We're a lot more confident, completely different performance to the last two games. I thought Wilton was fantastic at right back again, as he has been most this season. He's been fantastic. I thought Vidra played really well. Glad he got his goal, because he's not had what he's deserved recently. His performance deserved a goal, so it's great to see him on the score sheet. It wasn't an easy finish, but he made it look easy. So it's something to build on now. And like Leicester team had the third best away record. No, they have one of the best away records, so they're not moved. I know they were missing a few players, but can only play what's in front of you. I thought we were just a lot more enjoyable to watch, more like I wanted to see from a Burnley team. So we can take it forward to the Arsenal game. Hopefully bring a few more players back, Gumminson and Brady. That'll help our cause no end. I think we can get at the Arsenal defence. I don't think they're brilliant, so we'll just have to have a go at them. So we'll see how we get on, and keep playing like that. We'll pick up points. So we're just got to keep going, keep taking it forward. A lot more like it though. Schmeichel made some unbelievable saves to deny us. Another day we could have had 2 or 3, but points of you'd have taken a point before the game, so I think it's a good result. So yeah, on to Arsenal. Come on. Thanks guys.
Hey on Clarets, how we doing? Anti-football here. So that were a bit more like it, weren't it? Against Leicester. Proper good performance from lads, weren't it? Back at it. Bloody chalk and cheese with that West Brom shit show, weren't it? Last time at home. Oh yeah, good to see. Promising. And Woody as well, he looked back to something like, didn't he? I told you he'd start, didn't I? Told you. It's a shame he couldn't score like, but it weren't for want to try him, were it? Schmeichel were on good form, weren't he? Put in a few good saves, especially against Woody. So, yeah, and he were linking up well as well, weren't he, with Vidra? It seemed like, big man, little man partnership going on there. It seemed to work well. And good to see him get a bloody goal at last and all, isn't it? Bloody Vince, eh? Cracking finish, that. Good. Well done, lad, well done. Man, you not as good as their lad's bloody finish, were it? What a belter that were. Oh, Christ. Gotta hold your hands up sometimes, and just say, oh, well, no bloody stopping that, is there? Although Pope did look a little bit out of position to me, a little bit wide of his goal, but tell you what, even if he were in the middle of goal, I don't think there were any bloody stopping that, to be fair. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I were happy with a point. I don't know about you, against the top 3 team, you can't knock it, can you? A draw, it's another point on board towards safety. And if we can take that form into next game against the Gooners, the arse, bode well, I reckon we can do them. Let's do the double over the fuckers, Let's have it. Come on, Clarets. I reckon we can. Hey, I tell you what though, that game last night, something I noticed, or more to the point, something that I didn't really notice. Referee. I barely noticed him. I don't even know who he were reffing game. I didn't do no berating him or shouting at any point. I thought, well, that bodes well, doesn't it? That means he's had a good game, doesn't it? When you don't know who the fuck they are. If it's bloody Dean or Moss or someone, I'm bloody effing and jeffing at their reffing. Oh, if they big in game. So it's good. I guess it's best, innit? When they're like almost anonymous. Best referees, you don't know who they are, do you? Mind you, sports best ref ever were that Italian, Capellini, a pina colada, a pina colada. Oh, that'd be grand, wouldn't it? Lying on beach, watching sun go down. Oh, can't wait to do that at some point. Once I get my bloody vaccine, I'll be on me jollies lying on that bloody beach, I tell you. Ooh. Anyway, what were I on about? Bloody that ref! Bold Italian one with big eyes, you know what I mean? He looked like Buddy out of Roger Rabbit, didn't he? Cleany, he was probably best ref ever, and he were pretty well known, so that puts paid to my bollocks theory, doesn't it? Anyway, what am I about now, Clarets, supposed to be about bloody Clarets, not referee, I don't know, talking a load of bollocks. Wouldn't like me, ain't it? It was supposed to be a quickie tonight as well. Chance would be a fine thing, I can tell you. Not at the moment, with him indoors is a bit laid up, so I'll have to get my rabbit out tonight. Hey, I'll have that on the go tonight, and thinking of you, Simon Townley, Turfcast very own. Ooh, bring it on, big boy. All right, Clarets, that's me for now. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra! Do-do-do-do. Anti-football, do-do-do-do. Anti-football, do-do-do-boo.
So there you have it. That was the fan reaction from Burnley 1, Leicester City 1. Thank you to everybody who sent their fan reactions in again. And of course, I'll say the same thing that I say every single week. If you want to get involved in the fan reaction, you can. We're always open to more people getting involved. Just film yourself talking about the match for 2 to 3 minutes. Ideally in landscape, which is sideways when you hold your phone, not portrait. It still works if you don't like landscape for whatever reason, because some people still send it in portrait. I can still edit it into it, but it looks better if you do it landscape. So yeah, if you want to get involved, like I said, just film yourself a code about the game. It's 2 to 3 minutes. Send it to turfcastpodcast@gmail.com, or if you know me personally, send it on WhatsApp. Right, so we've done the Leicester game. Next up is the Arsenal game, also finished 1-1. So that's 2 points out of the 3 that we have in March. And just to point out that when I put a fixture list up saying how many points will we get in March, about 90% of people put 0. If you think we're going to get any, you're talking shit. So there you go. But yeah, Arsenal game didn't start off very well. We defended very poorly for the first 20 minutes. Should have been 2-3-0 down. But then we got a lucky goal. Let's be fair, it was quite a lucky goal from a Xhaka mistake. And then was on the right side of 2 VAR controversies, as I've noticed that Sky Sports labelled their YouTube video, but we'll get into that. First of all, Burnley 1, Arsenal 1. Go, I'll let you give your quick match summary, and then we'll get into the bones of it.
Yeah, well, what a game. That last 20 minutes just was massively exciting for the neutral. Never mind. I mean, my heart was coming out my mouth at times.
Yeah. I don't want to be entertaining. I want to be sat back, relaxed, 2-0 up with a beer in my hand, chilling. I don't want Arsenal to pause it last minute. No way.
I'm going to say, I can imagine you screaming at your telly. But yeah, no, it was very exciting. It was very enthralling, and there was so much drama to go into. But yeah, I suppose we should really start with the Aubameyang goal, shouldn't we?
Yeah, obviously Willian's running. Yeah, I'm not happy with this goal, I'll be honest. Willian's running in. He's got too much space and too much time on the ball in the middle. Then he passes it out to their left, our right. Aubameyang comes in. He gets past Lawton far too easily for me. And Tarky, for some weird reason, goes out of position and ends up just basically making Aubameyang's mind up, saying, well, there's a shot, a path on goal. You have to shoot now. Whether that's intentional by Tarky because he believes that Pope's got it covered, or he's just been caught slightly out of position. I feel like he's followed the ball a little bit too much, or he's maybe expecting him to go on the outside of Lawton rather than cutting inside of Lawton. Obviously, only Tarky will know that. But then because of that, Aubameyang's got a clear shot on goal. He gets a shot on goal. Pope's hand gets to it. And again, maybe I'm being too critical here. I feel like Pope's hand should have been stronger. Having said that, after watching the very interesting goalkeeper debate on Monday night, they were sort of like saying how well Pope's actually done there to get down to it, and they were showing his technique and showing what he does and how he sweeps his leg away from under him, because the leg actually is sort of like a hindrance at this point. So what he does is he sweeps his leg out from under him. I don't know if you saw it, so allowing him to get down quicker. So a good insight from Rob Green. Jamie Carragher were talking shit, but Rob Green, he was spot on. It was a really good insight, and he was very complimentary of Pope. And if anything, he was more complimentary of Pope and Henderson than he was of Pickford. But anyway, that's a different debate. But yeah, that's their goal. I feel like Lawton, he gets past Lawton too easily. I feel like Tarky gets caught out of position. I feel like Pope, I feel like I'm being a bit harsh here with Pope, should have had a stronger hand on it. And even in the first place, I feel like Willian, he's got too much time in the middle. But what do you think of it?
Yeah, you can. You know what? You've pretty much left it there. There's not much to add to that. But
well, your opinion's always good to hear.
Oh yeah, no, let's say you've pretty much covered all angles. But lots. You know, he does try and show him on the outside far too much, so that he's actually anticipating and going on the outside. Tarky's the same. He steps across thinking he's definitely going outside. So there's two people being overexcited, we'll say, for trying to mark him, making sure they get him. And he's just so fast in it. Just that shift. I don't think we probably appreciate how fast he can move that shift onto his shot onto his right foot. I think that it looks like it's so obvious the error, but you don't send two, arguably player of the season, Lawton, and one of the best defenders we've ever had in Tarky. It can't be a coincidence that he's made it look like he's going that way to two straight defenders and then come in and got the shot away as fast as he did. I think there's probably a great deal of skill in that. Pope gets down, it's called a collapse dive. I've learned that myself because Louis does it. So yeah, there's a collapse dive. Then he gets his hand to it. He will be disappointed because, like you just said then, mate, technically he's done the hard bit. He's done everything right. He's got down and then just doesn't manage to keep it out. So it's a similar sort of concept to the penalties when they get around to it, innit? Sometimes it's just hit that hard and that well, but the keeper's still disappointed that they get their hands to it and keep it out. But technically, if he's done everything right, professionals are saying he's done everything right, then who are we to criticise?
Yeah, fair enough. So that was their goal. Before we get to our goal, it should have been 2-0 to Arsenal. We were so bad at the back, weren't we, for the first 20, 25 minutes. Saka Saka just cuts through us so easily. I'm not sure if it's Saka that actually cuts through us, but Saka has the chance. It was a little bit unfortunate because it bounces off Taylor, then bounces off somebody else and lands at Saka, but he still gets through us too easily, and he's 3 yards out and he puts it wide.
Yeah, they come down the right-hand side. It's Saka to Aubameyang, and it's a 1-2 quick move. It pinballs, like you just said then, mate, through the defence. Ben Mee done well, really, to block it. Another day that's bouncing out and clearing out, and then it's a good tackle. But unfortunately, it just seems to spin off him and come straight into Saka, who's had half a second to decide what he's going to do with that shot. And thank God he poked it wide. But Pope were quick out there off the mark. If you have to watch the replays back, Pope does narrow that angle. The same one that people might criticise him for in the Leicester game for narrowing that angle and anticipating it. He's anticipated it again, and he's done the right job this time. Not him, the scenario.
Yeah. I like Saka as well, so I was pretty shocked that he's a very good player. I'll be very, very surprised if he's not the England left back in the Euros in the summer. But again, that's a different debate. But then obviously our goal, an absolute gift wrapped, popped on a plate. He loves playing against Burnley, doesn't he, Granit Xhaka? Absolutely loves it. Sent off at the Emirates for grabbing Westy by the throat and boots the ball at Woody to give us a goal at the turf. Nice and simple from us.
Like my nan and granddad would have said it, they're not here anymore, but they would have watched, when they used to come back to you and say, hey, you got a 4 in paper, and because it was like, when they used to do them out of 10. Well, I can't remember where I saw it, but it was on like a Who Scored or something daft like that, one of the apps, and he did actually get a 4. He was awful, weren't he? He didn't have the best of game. I was listening to a debate on TalkSport, interestingly, I think it was, and they said you can blame Xhaka all you want, and he should have done better with the pass, but the blame starts with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's got the ball, no one's set, he's released the ball, and they're having to deal with it. Me and you just watched it back.
Yeah.
Chris Wood anticipates it because he's actually running away from goal, sees Xhaka put his head down, and then sort of moves himself backwards to try and cut the passing lane, and he's done exactly that. Not just that, it's hit his hip and gone in the net.
Yeah, just quickly watching it again there briefly. I remember I saw a bit of a debate on, I think it was on TV somewhere. It could have been on the radio. I can't remember. And they weren't necessarily saying that that the blame starts with the goalkeeper, but they were sort of like similar sort of vibe though. They were saying, look, Arsenal have a thing where they play it out from the back. It's been Arteta's way of playing football. Arsenal have been known for doing it for years, to be fair. Never mind just Arteta. And they invite their pressure by doing that. And now they do it for a little bit, it around the back. But then you've got to make choices as a footballer. So even though the manager says, we want you to play out from the back, you've got to make a choice as a footballer as you think, right, this is enough now. We're not getting out. We need to launch it. And yeah, I do feel, I can understand why they've said that about the goalkeeper, because when it goes to the goalkeeper, I think in that moment, he should have thought, right, this is a time now where I need to launch it. But I think it's Tierney, or it could be someone else passing it back to the keeper originally. Then he passed it back to Xhaka. And then even in that scenario, I think Xhaka could easily have passed it back to the goalkeeper and say, right, boot it now. Yeah. So I think go on.
Sorry. I think they were saying it because Xhaka's got his back to the play now. He's got his, he's facing his own goal. He's been given the ball. He's got 5 yards of space to deal with it. But I do agree with you. He has enough time to deal with it. And at the end of the day, if Xhaka's not good enough to deal with that scenario, when he's got no one really that near him, granted he's being pressed from behind, but the passing lane is 10 yards away from him. If he's not good,
he's being pressed from behind, but it's not even on the same sort of concept as what Chowdhury was. He's being pressed, but it's not even as bad as that last one.
That's 2 games that we've dealt with them making errors, and that's led to our goals. Not individual brilliance or anything. It's just, I know Vidra, you could say, was an individually brilliant goal, but it's dealt with by their errors straight away.
Yeah, which has come from our press.
Because it's come from our press. Now, the narrative is changing, and I know you enjoy these sort of things, but last year it was like, oh, boring Burnley or bullying Burnley. And then all I'm hearing now is Burnley played to the strengths. But it's the same football, mate, and it infuriates me. But if they want to play it out from the back, then they've got to be good enough to deal with a press. And if you can't deal with Burnley's press, then you shouldn't be Xhaka's role. It should be someone else's role. Yeah,
I do feel like Arsenal don't have the players for the style of play that they want. Xhaka, Holding, Louise, all brilliant examples of defenders that aren't good enough to do that sort of thing. But then, obviously, it goes into the second half. And again, I think we were lucky to come away with a point. I felt like we were lucky to stay in the game. We were lucky to have the goal. And I thought we defended well, to be fair, for large parts, especially in the second half. But Arsenal, with that last 10, 15-minute pressure, they probably should have had something happen.
Yeah, mate, massively. I mean, one huge cloud from this game was Charlie Taylor going off injured again. He's gone off injured, but what that did was it opened the door for a fucking onslaught from Peters.
Yeah, Peters doesn't care. He will do whatever he has to do.
What a game he had, mate. He had 20 minutes. He could have got man at match for me. He came on. He did a 40-yard volley that dipped and nearly caught Leno off his line. So that won as a corner within 2 minutes of coming on the pitch. Then there's a handball, which obviously we'll stop here and go into this one, I imagine. But there's 2 stabs at that handball from Pepe.
What are we going to do? Are we going to sort of like ask about both decisions? So we'll stop here and discuss both the decisions. Then we'll obviously start with the Arsenal penalty that wasn't given, not the one that he was given a red card for, the first one.
Yeah.
So Xhaka has the ball. He tries to get it past Eric. It hits his arm as it's down by his side. Then he tries to do it again. And now this time, Eric lifts his arm in the air. It's not an unnatural movement, I might add. It is a natural movement. He puts his arm in the air, moves towards his left-hand side because he knows that's where Xhaka wants to go. And then it hits his arm again.
Yeah.
Obviously, Arsenal appealed for a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. I still think it's a penalty. I'll put this out there now. But it wasn't given.
It's a storm-warm penalty. There's no argument. If that was against us, I would be spewing. And Arsenal did that. You know, this is massive decisions. And we'll go into the second one in a minute. But we are fighting relegation, whether people want to accept that or not. You know, I do think we've got enough to stay up, but we're still in it. We're still contenders for relegation. And these massive decisions are what make and break. And, you know, clubs beneath us will be looking at going, how the fuck is that not a penalty? Because if your arms are up here, you're taking the risk. They always say that, don't they? If you've got your arms up in the air, you're taking a risk. Yeah. Does Pepe hit it towards his hand? Yeah, but I think you've got to look at it and say, if Pepe is going to get a shot on goal, if you didn't handball that, and your arm was down by your side, fair enough, but it's not, it's up in the sky, then it's got to be a foul. And the fact of the matter is, it's in the penalty area, so it's a penalty. In my opinion.
It's one of them. I thought it was a penalty at the time. Whatever that referee lad's called, who does the referee stuff on BT, he says it was too close. So the proximity is too close. And that's why it wasn't given. And I've seen screenshots on Twitter of the handball rule. Now, the handball rule changes. It's just changed again. So I don't even know where we're at the minute with the handball rule. But even if my point is, I don't know if these screenshots are recent or if they're about the new rule or if they're about an old rule because it's changed recently again. So I don't know where we're at with the handball rule. But according to the rule of the guy on the VAR, he said he didn't give it because of the close proximity. So Peters, because his arm was in a natural position, didn't have time to move his arm away from that because of how close it was to Peters.
I agree with that, but I've seen so many given for a lot less. Not even a little bit less, like a lot less. The rule has changed, but from my understanding, it doesn't change till June, which is in time for the Euros. Now, I know we're Premier League rules, but I'm saying it's changing by then. It is handball. You know what I mean? It's just got to say to yourself, close proximity. Let's put it this way, right? For anyone listening now, if you think, it is handball or it isn't handball, my question to you guys is, if he gives that penalty, does VAR say, no, it's too close to that, mate? We're going to take that penalty away.
Yeah, I can't see VAR overturning that if he's giving it.
No. And that's the way you've got to look at it. If they wouldn't overturn it, and you're on the fence, I don't think they'd overturn it. I think it's definitely a penalty, by the way. But yeah, for me, it's a penalty, and I don't think VAR would have said no if it was given.
Yeah. So again, it's just another interpretation of how a particular person interprets a rule. There's no black and white again, whereas I feel like there should be. It's a case of that referee decided in that particular moment it wasn't a penalty. So it's not a penalty. Like I said, and obviously I'm basing that on the fact that you've just said if he had given it, VAR wouldn't have overturned it and took it back. The next one is again involving Eric Peters. He blocks the ball on the line. There, I may add, as he pointed at, and then Lacazette come up and went, Like, sure you did. Obviously, apologies if you're listening to the podcast. I was pointing at my shirt. But yeah, obviously, the shot comes in. I can't remember who hits the shot. Eric Peters gets his body in the way on the line, hits his shoulder/chest, goes over the line. Referee could not wait to blow the whistle, could not wait to point to the spot. And I've never seen a referee get his red card out as quick as that. It was like a competition of how quick you could get your card out and how quick you could make a wrong decision. But yeah, obviously, so originally, Peters is sent off and Arsenal have a penalty, but VAR overturns it because, rightly, in my opinion, this time, it's hit his shoulder. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the referee's seen it enough to make an instant decision, like you just said then. The red card came out as fast as they were running. How the referee's seen it from the angle, if anyone watches it back, you'll see what I mean. How he can determine that he's like saved it, tipped it over bar. I don't know how he's made that decision because he can't see it from where he's at. So that baffles me. Dyche comes out and says the exact same thing, and I can't agree with him more. I don't know why he was so excited to get the red out. It's a great save, isn't it? Let's be fair. I know it's his shoulder, by the way. What a saving block. He's shouldered it. He's not just shouldered it. He's actually put his shoulder behind it. It's not just hit him. And it's gone rocketing over. I think the post just after that or just before that, he's gone and thrown his body. There's two defenders throwing the body at it. So fair play to the other one. I can't even remember who it were now because Peter got all the limelight. But two defenders threw the body in front of that ball. Fantastic defending.
Yeah, it was. So well done, Eric, for that. And yeah, so I think they've got the first one wrong. I think it's handball and Arsenal should have had a penalty, but I think they've got the second one right eventually. Yeah, so we agree on. Shout out to Eric, because as I told you the other day, he put a picture up on Instagram on his story of him playing football in the game, pretty much straight after full time. And I responded to the story and said, I can't believe how quick he got that red card out there, Eric. And he put, yes, I still felt the burn of that ball on my shoulder. So he knew where, obviously he will do, but he's known where that's hitting. And that's what annoys me, because Eric Peters is standing there, and again, apologies for watching on the listening on the podcast, but pointing at his shoulder like that. And then Lacazette walks up to him and points at the Burnley sleeve. Now, this is why I've wore this one today. He points at the sleeve. I think what he's saying is it's because the blue starts there, so it makes it look like it's hit your shoulder, but it's actually hit there. But I'll just point out, I'll echo what somebody said on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, who said, whoever designed the shirt this year is an absolute genius, because it does make it, say if it hits it there at the top of the sleeve, again, apologies if you're watching, listening on the podcast, it is going to make it look originally like it's hitting like there. But I think VAR would soon figure that out, to be fair. Yeah,
it's been a weird game for controversy in some respects. I mean, the thing that made this controversial, because for me it's cut and dry. It's not a red card, nothing. But the controversy is that he got a red card out in the first place in that sort of manner. What he should have done was blow a penalty, and then maybe make the decision of VAR. Is it is it an obvious? Sorry, is it what do you call it when it's done on purpose?
Clear an obvious error.
No, you know when they do it on purpose.
Oh, deliberate handball.
Deliberate. So if it's hit his arm and he's just running, you can't give a red for that. You can give a penalty. I don't know where the double jeopardy rule stops and starts anymore. But the fact of the matter is, you can't make the decision from where he is and what he's seen, whether it's actually his arm number one, and he definitely can't tell that he did it deliberately or not.
No, I agree with that. I do feel like the referee was poor in that one. I feel if you give the turn, and again, I feel like he couldn't wait to get the red card out, and obviously because VAR overturned that one, I think that one is black and white. You can tell where it hits him. You can tell it doesn't hit his arm. So that one for me is black and white. But I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, Arsenal turned the screw in the last 10 minutes, but couldn't score, so we held on for a point.
Yeah, just before that as well, it's worth mentioning, Wood had a one-on-one chance. I think it come from the left-hand side with Peters.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that I was a little bit disappointed that Chris missed that one, to be honest.
Yeah, good save, to be fair, but it is... keeper's done exactly what we're saying. Porch did it the Leicester game. He's come out, narrowed the angle straight away, fast off his feet. Would have put it either side of him, possibly, yeah, but it was... it was a good strike, to be fair. It's just like he said, straight at him. It was straight at his
Yeah,
hand.
he's hit it well enough. If anything, it's one of the old cliches. He's hit it too well. If he scuffs it, it probably goes in.
Yeah.
But I thought he should have done better with that one. It was put on an absolute plate for him.
Like the Ashley Barnes one, when it slipped under his foot, it actually opened the whole goal for him, didn't it?
Yeah.
On that
Although some people have since said that was brilliant control. I'm not so sure. I'm still not so sure. But that's it for the Arsenal game from me and Simon. Here's what the Burnley fans thought with the Arsenal fan reaction.
Hi guys, let's talk the Arsenal game. Good point in the end, really. Tough team, Arsenal. First half I was a bit worried because they started off like a house on fire. Causing issues with their pace and stuff, and they were getting in behind us. The second half was more like the previous game, the Leicester game. So a bit fortunate with a goal, but Chris Wood's where he needs to be. That's why he's a striker and he's up there. Thought possibly got a bit lucky with the penalty. Not the VAR one, but that's where VAR comes in and is good for the game because it helps the ref out and stuff. But yeah, with the first one possibly it could have been a penalty, but we've had enough luck go against us in previous games against that lot, so I don't feel any sympathy for them. The second half, if we keep playing like that, we'll be alright, I think. I thought Vidra played well again, caused issues defensively. Thought looked quite solid second half. Would play very well again. He's coming into some form now. He's an important player for us because it's not just his goal scoring; it's his hold up play as well. And just seems an important cog in the machine. Shame about Taylor going off. Hopefully the injury's not too bad. Tough game next against Everton, but you never know. We might catch them on a bad day, like Fulham did. So we just got to keep picking up points where we can because it's getting a little bit tight down there because Fulham are doing well. I think we'll be okay at the end of the season. Anyway, on to the next game and hopefully beat Everton. Cheers, guys.
Hey, Clarets, how we doing? Anti-football here. So another good point against the top team, weren't it? After a bloody shit start again. Oh, I don't know. Always get caught out with these early goals, don't we, against top teams? Again, bloody Louts has been amazing recently, but he got done like a bloody kipper there, didn't he? And Tarks went same way, just left it wide open, didn't it? For a Bamba Yang to slip it in near post. Thought Nick might have done a bit better. Popey might be a bit disappointed with that. Very frustrating, isn't it, when he gets an hand to it, but then it just trickles over the line. But anyway, we dug in, didn't we? Recovered well, didn't go under like we did against Spurs. Hung in there and got a ridiculous bloody equaliser. Oh my God, that was funny as fuck, weren't it? Fucking Shikaka. And the bloody me Shikaka and all, did it? That clown, he got sent off down there, didn't he? Brilliant that he did that. Was he playing that? Played it across back like that and straight in. What a gift. Bloody brilliant that. Then second half, we were proper at it, weren't we? We could have won it. I knew we could have lost it and all, to be fair, but bloody hell, that was a cracking chance, weren't it, with Vids and Wood. Really linked up brilliantly there, didn't they? It's a shame he couldn't slot it in corner. Did well, he got it on target, just good save from keeper, I suppose, in end, innit? And then, what a bloody mental 20 minutes for Peters. Oh, we're bonkers, weren't it? Well in action. I don't know. Straight on and got booked. That bloody laggy's head. Making a right bloody meal of that, weren't he? Got himself a yellow card for an out. And, but I tell you what, their bloody player should have been sent off earlier. Sack of shit. Hey? How many bloody times were he fouling Taylor? He got one yellow card, didn't he? And then there were another couple. Well, that could have been a bloody penalty on Vids, eh? Could have been. I don't know how much were in it, but he clearly impeded him. Why is Vids going to go like that when he's shooting? He went to shoot and he hit his boot, hadn't he? So that could have been a yellow anyway. It weren't foul, so no way. But there were another one. He should have been bloody off. Mind you, we're better off not having them sent off, aren't we? Not very good against 10 men, are we? So yeah, bloody Peters, what an eventful half hour, 20 minutes he had. It was hilarious, weren't he? Wasn't it? Like, got booked straight away. Then had that belting shot. Bloody hell, that would have been goal at decade, wouldn't it? If that had gone in. How far are we? Miles out, weren't they? What a shame that didn't go in. And then to the end, I think we got a bit lucky with first non-penalty, weren't we? There were a couple of handballs there where he had his arm out. My heart went in my mouth. It was, oh God, it could be given. But anyway, that passed by. VAR didn't know about that, thank fuck. And then that went offline. I thought, as soon as I saw it, I thought, that's not handball. But ref was straight in there, weren't he? You sometimes wonder if, like, refs had players in their ear, and then he, like Dyche said, could wait to get his card out. Go have my card off. Have a think about it, you bloody idiot. Have a look at VAR. And then, thank fuck, VAR saved the day, didn't it? Go and rescue the day, because, quite clearly, it was his bloody shoulder. And then, that weren't the end of it, were it? Then in the last few minutes, bloody hell, they were rattling all over the place in box, weren't it? But we dug in, got bodies in way, and when it came off post in last minute, oh, jeez, I were pissing my knickers nearly. Oof. But anyway, at the end of the day, it was a bloody well-earned point, weren't it? Another 3 games in 7 days. Done all right there. Can't knock it. We back it up with a win against Everton next time out. We'll be well safe. I think we're safe now. Bloody 30 points with 9 games to play, is it? I think we'll be right. We only need another win and a draw, couple of wins. Piece of piss. Onwards and upwards, Clarets. All right, that's me for now. Take care of yourselves. Ta-da! Do-do-do-do. Anti-football. Do-do-do-do. Anti-football.
So thanks everyone who got involved with the Arsenal fan reaction. Again, if you want to get involved, you can. If you are getting involved though, please make sure you do it the day after or of the day, but don't send them 2 days after, because on this occasion, we couldn't put the video out because they came in a little late. It's not an issue. I still managed to get it in the podcast. Obviously, I would just have them. But it would also mean that the fan reaction video won't go on YouTube. So I think it's a bit silly putting it out 2 days after the game. Straight while the iron's out. But anyway, I've already mentioned the fact that we are, of course, sponsored by Pitch Sport. You can still see it at the bottom of your screen there. And as I mentioned, every week I upload a fan time question. Now, unless Simon's seen the fan time question on the Turfcast Podcast Instagram or the Turfcast Podcast Twitter, he won't be aware of what this week's question is. So I will ask it him now live and throw him under the bus a little bit. Cool. This week's question is Fulham's current form worrying you?
No.
Okay. Expand.
Because I still think that we are, if it's when you're above the relegation zone, you look down and see everybody beneath you, and you think, shit, we've got them catching and they're catching, and we've got to look out because Fulham are on a bit of a run. But we've been in that position where you're third bottom, and the last thing you do is look at someone who's 4 points away from you. You're looking at the points, the people in between that you can get on the next win. If you can get one more win and get it. Now, I think looking at the ones that are in between us and Fulham, just for the examples, or Newcastle, for example, they are in free fall. They've got injuries. I know we could have injuries, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we can't have had a worse injury run than we had at the beginning of the season. Now it's happening to Newcastle now. Every team has it. They have their injury barren runs and all that lot. I don't see Newcastle picking up points anytime soon. That being said, I can't remember the exact fixtures that Fulham have got coming up, but I believe that the next one is Manchester City off the top of my head.
Well, I'll just quickly get it up. But just going back to the league table, you are right in what you say. It's obviously Sheffield United, West Brom. Forget about them; they're gone. Then Fulham in 18th on 26 points. They are now caught up with Brighton. But Brighton have a game in hand. They're on 26 points. They're 1 point behind Newcastle, who also have a game in hand on both us and Fulham on 27 points. And then 3 points away is Burnley on 28 games played, though. And then 3 points ahead of that is Southampton, and then another point ahead of that is Palace. So I think it's 15th down. I think Southampton and Palace have probably got too many points on the board. So it's us, Newcastle, Brighton, and Fulham. I think it's going to be one of them. I'll be honest. Fulham's form, my anxiety went through the roof. When they beat Liverpool, I was sweating. I was like, here we fucking go. I'm not having this. I can't be arsed with this for the next few months. That gap, like you say, they have got a bit of a tough run. I haven't got it on my screen yet. But the point I'm going to make is that Liverpool game was included in that tough run. That 7 point gap was supposed to stay there for the next 3 or 4 games. That's why my anxiety has gone through the roof. We created that 7 point gap from them 2 draws, and it gave us a bit of breathing space because you could see Fulham winning 2 games between now and the end of the season before that Liverpool game anyway. And then if they've won 2 games, they're above us. Whereas now that 7 point gap means they have to win 3, ideally, or obviously 2 and draw. So it was a 3 game gap rather than a 2 game gap. So that with that, I thought by the time that they've come through this tough run, we could even be, 10, 11 points away from them. But they've closed that gap a little bit to 4 points because of that win at Liverpool. So that sent my anxiety through the roof.
Let me just read out some of the fixtures that they've got to deal with. Ignoring our fixtures for now. The next game is Man City. Then they've got Leeds.
Where's that? Where are these games at?
Fulham's at home against City. They're at home against Leeds. Then they've got Villa away, which obviously you still expect Villa to turn them over. They've got Wolves, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United near the end. They've got us. And then the more important game at the minute, looking at where we are all standing now, is the last game of the season is Newcastle.
Yeah. I think if you're a Fulham fan, you're looking at that and you're thinking, we can beat Leeds.
We can beat
They're in free fall at the minute. We can beat Burnley. We can beat Wolves. And we can beat Newcastle. I think as a Fulham fan, you're looking at them 4 games and thinking, there's 12 points, potentially 12 points there.
Now, are you ready for this one? So this is Newcastle. So this is a massive game on Saturday. At 8 o'clock, they're playing Brighton.
Oh, please draw. Please draw.
Spurs. Then they've got us. And then they've got West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, Man City. And then them 2 massive games at the end, which is Sheffield United and Fulham. So just the teams at the bottom have all still got to fight each other. But yet they've still got all the big ones to play still. I feel like, with the injuries that we had at the beginning of the season and the injuries that Newcastle have got now, I still feel like it's in our hands and it's in our favour, irrelevant of the point system. I know it's in our hands mathematically, but I still feel like it's more than in our hands.
Yeah. That Brighton game is Saturday the 20th. I'm subscribed to other channels on YouTube, being a Burnley fan channel, whatever we are, podcast. And there's a Newcastle guy that I like to watch. It's called The Toon Review. Check him out. He's very, very good at what he does. I like him because he's your typical Newcastle fan where he's constantly more, Bruce, he's shite. And I remember him saying that game against Villa is massive now. So their next 2 games are Villa at home and Brighton away. If they get 0 points, I feel like I agree with you. I'm worried, but I still don't think we're going to go down. I think Newcastle are worse than us. I think Brighton are worse than us. Copyright Johnny Tate, but Brighton are all fart, no smell. They can't. I still think Brighton will do enough to get over the line, if I'm being honest. But I think Newcastle are in free fall, and I'm going on a Newcastle podcast tonight to have a relegation debate. And I'm going to sit there on this Newcastle podcast and say, I think you're going down. So that'll be interesting. So you're saying the be-all and end-all of what we've just done is that you're saying that Fulham's form doesn't worry you because you still believe that Newcastle and Brighton are worse than us?
Yeah, basically.
We had a couple of responses. Thank you to everyone that got in touch. If you haven't already, please download the app. It'd mean the world if you could just respond to it. Obviously, it makes us look better if you're responding to the thing and we get 4 or 5 responses than just 2. But Neil Layfield's been in touch. Evening, Neil. Whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this. Says, not yet. They've still only won 4 games. And like you say, everyone wins at Anfield these days. Yeah, they do. I'd be more worried if I was a Newcastle fan, as the club's in freefall. Everyone's moaning and arguing. If Fulham stay up, then it's them at risk, not Burnley. Yeah. Talk BFC, check them out on Instagram, says City, Leeds and Villa are their next 3 games, as we've just said. Surely they're dropping points somewhere in that run. Hopefully, Talk BFC, they're dropping points everywhere in that run. But I feel like they'll look at that Leeds game and I think they can get a win there. I do think they'll stay up this season, though. We just need to focus on our results and try and get to safety. So just on a sort of like little by-product debate thing then, who do you think's going down if it's not Burnley?
Currently, if you can't look past Newcastle. It's very difficult to. Like Brighton, yeah, they are all fart no smell, but or whatever it is. And then you've got the matter of the fact is, though, they're still creating 20 chances. Now, not every get. Look at the chances.
Eventually, they'll turn into goals.
Well, look at what happened against Arsenal, mate. We didn't even have a chance. It hit him on Arsenal, went in. That's all they need now is that turn of luck. Them chances are scuffed in. They're ugly goals. It doesn't matter. But when you're creating 20 chances and something ridiculous of them are on target, the odds are in their favour. So for that reason is why I think that it's Newcastle over Brighton.
The thing that worries me about Newcastle is they're in this position, and I've defended Steve Bruce before, but I feel like now they're in this position because of all the negativity surrounding the club. And I think the one thing that will lift that is if they sack Steve Bruce. Now, I do think he's only maybe another couple of defeats away from getting sacked. And I'm then worried that they'll get this new manager bounce or just that lift from sacking him. That's what worries me about Newcastle. I feel like they've got good players. I don't feel like they should be in that position. Whereas with West Brom, they're never worried me because you look at them and you think, oh, they're shit, they're not going to get out of it. Whereas with Newcastle, they have the players to get out of it. So if they stack Steve Bruce and get a lift, they could get out of it. So then Newcastle are on the front foot, Fulham are on the front foot, and then it's between us and Brighton. And then, as we've just said, Brighton's chances are going to... That's why, this is what happens when you've got anxiety. All these scenarios that aren't happening are happening in my head.
I was just going to say, though, mate, all this makes for an exciting end to a season. I know it's not...
an exciting end. I don't want an exciting end.
I know it's not what you say, but just a quick sort of thingy, like, bear in mind the fixtures I've read out. Now, there's no such thing as an easy fixture in the Premier League, I'm aware of that, but there's definitely fucking harder ones. So we've got Everton, Southampton, Newcastle United, Wolves, West Ham, Fulham, Leeds, Liverpool, then ending on Sheffield United. Now, when you list that compared to the other 2 teams that we've just mentioned, their run of fixtures, definitely, as a neutral, you would look at that and say, Burnley got the easier run.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I've got a horrible... I ultimately don't think we'll go down. I've said that. It's just my anxiety racking around my head. But yeah, we've got to... If we miss an opportunity against Leicester, we've missed a lot of opportunities. That's what's worrying me. We've missed so many opportunities, and we shouldn't be where we are. But like I said a million times, Burnley of last season will be 10th now. We can beat Southampton on that list. We can beat Newcastle on that list. We can beat Fulham on that list. We can beat Leeds on that list. I think you said Wolves as well. We can beat them. We can beat Sheffield United. So there's 6 games there where even if you win 3 of them, you're out of it. So fingers crossed we can win 3 of them.
Not just that, just don't get beat against Fulham. Don't get beat against who was the other one? Sheffield.
Newcastle.
Don't get beat against Newcastle.
Yeah.
You don't get beat against them teams and nick a couple of results elsewhere. You've done it.
Yeah. Well, we could pick up 3 points against Everton this week, and obviously that's who we've got coming up next. Everton have got a couple of injuries. Rodriguez has been out. I think he might be back for the Burnley game, though. Of course, we'll go more into this on the probably live pre-game show on Saturday morning. So join us there if you want a more in-depth Everton debate. I think Dukara went off injured yesterday in the Chelsea game. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce his name, and that'll be a big loss for them. But Everton are a good side this season. They've been a little bit indifferent, to be fair. They are above Liverpool now, though. But they have been a little bit indifferent this season. There's been parts this season where they were absolutely class. I think they were top at one point, only for like a week or so. But obviously with players like Rodriguez and Richarlison, there's players there that can unlock any defence, even the Burnley defence. So it's going to be a tough game.
Richarlison playing up top, mate, is one of the key factors to their run of form at the minute because he's on fire up top. Rather than playing out wide, he's playing really well. Keane's playing well. Pickford, though, mate, he made a bad decision against Chelsea, came out, rushed out, took the player down, gave away a penalty. He did a couple of good saves after that, if I'm honest with you, but he's very erratic. Like, even the one where he did a good save, he came rushing out, did a really good save, but then left his cell because it cannoned off him. He went straight to the middle and he was well out of position. But he did well to get back a block in. But I remember the last time we played Everton, I was thinking, it's Pope versus Pickford. This is Pope's chance to show that he's like thinking. Both keepers had a fucking worldie. So let's you can't say Pickford's a bad keeper. You can't, but some days he's his own worst enemy. And which just depends on what players like that. What my point is, it depends on what Pickford turns up. Depends on what rationale buddy Richarlison's got in his head, because he can be a Xhaka and a red card waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Bastard. But yeah, it just depends on what stars turn up on the day, because they've got a team that could beat anyone, and then they can beat themselves at times as well, is my point.
Yeah. Everton do worry me because, like I said, they've got James Rodriguez, they've got Richarlison. But if Rodriguez is still out like he was against Chelsea and Richarlison doesn't turn up, which is known to sometimes, like you say, then yeah, we could get a win. I think it'll be very difficult to get a win at Goodison Park. Yeah. Definitely. It's going to be a tough one, especially with Charlie Taylor likely to be out now. Obviously, we don't know that. Dyche hasn't said anything yet. But Peters, I suppose, is a good enough defensive replacement.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dyche will play Charlie Taylor at 70% fit, it seems, this season, looking at what he's done with him. But Peters is a more than adequate replacement. He's done really well every single time he's been asked to come in. But he isn't looking like Charlie Taylor's going to play just because he limped off injured. Again, away from home, going to be a tough one. I fancy a 0-0 on this one.
Yeah. I'll rip your hand off for that now. I don't know. I can't see he's keeping a clean sheet against Richarlison and Rodriguez, if I'm being honest. I like to wear the realistic cap on this podcast when it comes to predictions, whereas Simon likes to wear I'll just predict a Burnley point or a win. So with that in mind, everybody, I'm going to go 2-0 Everton, I think. I don't know. I think Everton are going to want to bounce back from that Chelsea game. So if we got a point against Everton, I'd be made up with that, just like I was with the point against Arsenal, and to a lesser extent, the point against Leicester. But 3 points out of them 3 games in March, we would have all took that. Even judging off what everyone said, responded to the message that when I put that fixture list up, everyone would have took 3 points.
Well, I'll put it out there now, and I think you mentioned that Pitchport have now done a league table where you can guess scores. Next season, we need to actually do like a Super 6 or version, league table of us all and the fans, and we'll have a good go. But I'm going 0-0.
Yeah, definitely. That is one of the plans for next season. The plans for next season, it's called foreplay on Pitch Sport. It's because you pick 4 of them. You can pick any 4 of the 10, I think. I've not started this season because they introduced it halfway through the season. I do it myself, so if you haven't downloaded the Pitch Sport app yet, feel free to go there and predict them. But yeah, I think next season, I think we will all do a 4-player league. The only problem is, like I said, you can pick any game you want, so people could come on it and not pick the Burnley game or whatever. Unless we created our own and add our own website and put it on there, but I'm not that good with creating websites, so I'm not sure. But I'm going 2-0 Everton. I've got the last 2 games spot on, by the way. I said 1-1 against Leicester. I said 1-1 against Arsenal. Fingers crossed I am not wrong. I am not right and I'm wrong this time is what I meant to say. There you go. Fingers crossed I am wrong because I'm going 2-0 Everton.
Good work.
That'll be a tough one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, hopefully.
Yeah, if you want a more in-depth Everton chat, hopefully I am joined by an Everton fan live on YouTube and on Facebook this Saturday morning. But I haven't got anything penciled in yet, so I'm not 100% confirming that. However, I have 2 or 3 Everton pages that I'm chatting to, so I can't see it not happening if I'm going to be honest with you. But is there anything else you'd like to add, Simon? Anything you've seen that you want to discuss? Anything? Actually, one thing I do want to mention is Arsenal fans, you're a disgrace. Or whoever it were that were sending them messages to Eric Peters, disgraceful. The guy that sent the worst one, which I'm not going to repeat, the guy that sent the worst one actually had LCFC in his name. So either it was an Arsenal fan hiding behind a random account because he didn't have a profile picture, shock, or it was just a Leicester fan deciding to get involved, or even a Lincoln City fan. It could have been, it could have been anybody. But the point remains,
I don't care.
I don't understand why it's so normal these days. I don't understand.
I hope it's dealt with the same way. I hope that every form of abuse, whether it's racist or not, is just threatening people's lives.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just because he's gone to work and blocked a shot. Eric Peters didn't decide not to give a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's disgusting. But on a positive note, on the positives of social media, the Turfcast fan base come rallying together, didn't they, to try and help Lawton get goal of the month. So fingers crossed that comes together, because
fingers crossed that does come together. At the time you're listening / watching this, whoever has won that shirt will have already been told. The plan is to announce it Tuesday evening. Hopefully I can do that on time. But I should be able to. Like I said, I'm on that podcast tonight, so fingers crossed we can get it done. But if not, I'll just do it tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, big shout out to everyone who got involved in that competition. Shout out to you for sorting it, and to Lawton for being so generous. But yeah, that's it then from us this week. Unless, like I say, anything else you want to add, because I didn't really give you a chance. I just jumped in.
No, thank you, mate.
Happy days. Well, that's it from this week's Turfcast podcast. Like I said, we will have a watch along on Saturday. Simon, are you available?
I think so, yeah. What time's kickoff?
5:30?
Should be all right for then, yeah.
Good, because I'm working. You might be on presenting duties. Happy days. Before that, we should have a Turfcast podcast pre-game show on Saturday morning, provided I can get one. I've said it already. Then after that, we will, of course, have the match reaction, and then the fan reaction, hopefully, if we get enough responses. But if you don't like any of the other stuff that we do, we'll see you next Thursday for the podcast, as usual, on Thursday.